TSM is going to really want that record that CLG has right now. They'd be able to tie up those scores if they get this win here. CLG has been looking pretty good this season with all the changes they've made as well.
The other interesting thing is that OGN, their league is on the 4.10 patch as well. They have played 3 best-of-2s, so a total of 6 games on that patch. The European LCS has played 8 games on the 4.10 patch. Obviously, these teams are going to have their own slightly unique view on how they change, but one thing that's pretty strong throughout is that Kale's a pretty good ban if you're not blue side, and that was the first thing for CLG.
Kale is indeed a great ban, seeing so much top lane love lately, especially as we were seeing in Korea and all sorts around the world. Overpower still playing that in mid. We've seen a lot of TF lately as well. A lot of when all these mids get banned out, they're reverting to the end of that champion pool. Sometimes on Link, sometimes on Bjergsen. Lulu gets banned out for another one. See what they have for each other.
Yeah, that's an interesting move by Team SoloMid. I would say as far as Dyrus's preferences go right now, he's probably Kale and Lulu would be the top 2 for him. So there's a good chance he will default back onto Renekton because of the early laning. TSM really likes to pick early laning powers, and I would expect a first pick Lee Sin from them if it wasn't banned away, just because Amazing is so dominant on that, and they first picked Lee Sin in their nice victory last week. So that's a smart final ban by CLG.
Taking up Kassadin. Very good play from him. 10-0-4, a play style that Bjergsen loves. Go in and get some kills. That'll set up TSM to pretty much be very focused around some level 6.
And as if Kassadin wasn't already strong enough on the 4.9 patch, the fact that the Athene's Unholy Grail was taken down at Magic Resist, and Kassadin never really built that item in the first place, means that he is an even stronger anti-mage in the mid lane. And if you pick an AD champion against him, as Voyboy showed last week, you just build armor on Kassadin, and it works great with the Iceborne Gauntlets anyway. So a very, very, very powerful first pick in the mid lane.
And this really might sort of tell CLG something. They say maybe that's why they banned out so many supports, lockdowns, and control for a Kassadin. So they're thinking quick. They're trying to adapt now.
Seems like Aphromu's got Thresh left. As far as supports.
Boom. That's going to be a new one for him.
All right, so this is mainly because of Glebe's preference for Nami in the past. Last week, TSM was picking Nami when Thresh was still available. And TSM also really, really liked that with whatever turtle plays, most likely Twitch in that place. So it opens up the door for a lot of CLG possibilities.
A lot of in and out being picked here. Lucian as well for Wild Turtle would be a great pickup. The coolest thing as well, we were talking about how all these regions have already played on 4.10. NA's coming in here as now the 3rd region. They've seen everybody else play, but we've still seen diverse AD carry builds throughout it. So it'll be awesome to see if these guys will try their own thing or just kind of go with what they've seen work.
I've actually seen Lucian's build any of the 3 main AD carry items first. I've seen them go Infinity Edge first. I don't like that build. I think Blade of the Ruined King is the most likely culprit for first item, followed by Ghostblade. I've even seen the Bloodthirster build first, as happened in one of the OGN games last night. But I believe Turtle will be doing the Blade of the Ruined King.
Link and Doublelift now. Still deciding out. The picks for Team SoloMid definitely coming in faster than they are for Chronologic Gaming at this point. A lot of mid lane and jungle focus in their bans.
And the AD carry pick becomes very important here for Doublelift. He has really been tunneling on Lucian lately when he's been picking them. Like it.
That preview show.
I like it, I like it, I like it. So this is interesting. Doublelift, way back in the day, was the old hyper carry man for AD carries. Recently, he's been getting so much better in the mid games on his AD carries, but this is almost like a return to old form for Doublelift. Tristana, also, aside from the itemization changes, had her ultimate buffed in the last patch, where it will scale with Tristana's attack speed, so he will be able to use that knockaway very well in the late game. I really like that pick for CLG.
Great against the Kassadin as well. That's going to be so much fun to watch this game. Always got to love the TSM CLG matchup. Locked in is Renekton and Thresh. That's still going to be a very high tier pick for support going in last for Glebe. So you can see both teams trying to get beat around the bush here, but get the composition they want.
Yeah, I would say there are kind of the 4 main supports. 2 of them are banned in this game, and the other 2 are picked right now. So that was kind of just what was left for TSM, because a lot of their champions would have been almost picked away from them, with the Shyvana pick by Seraph and then the Nami pick as well that's going to be played by Aframu. So a pretty interesting pick and ban phase here. The other thing we kind of have to highlight is the jungle choices between these guys, because Amazing hasn't won games on anything but Elise or Lee Sin, yet CLG still didn't choose to pick Elise away from Amazing, mainly because Dexter has so much confidence in his Vi play. He's had a lot of success on it in the games that he's played Vi.
And it almost means immediate aggression, because he continues to build damage, and you can only do that when you're ahead in the game. So Dexter is looking to get himself ahead very early. Seeing the Orianna get popped in. We won't have the Moo cow coming in, but we still have a great composition that CLG can do some turnaround fights, as TSM looks to be going into this one quite strong with an all-in-your-face composition.
Yeah, especially depending on how they build their items. It definitely looks like it's just like old times as far as the overall strength of their team compositions go. Team SoloMid will be the laning-focused team that is stronger in the mid-game, where because of the Tristana and the Orianna in the mid lane and AD carry for CLG, they're going to be the ones that will be stronger in the late game. This might be one of those old school 45-minute CLG victories if they actually do draw it out.
I like it. Let's get it going. Let's take a quick look at where the fan vote stands right now while the teams load into the game. And according to LOLesports.com, 52% of you think CLG will take the win. A very close vote.
That is neck and neck. And they're super close in the standings as well. If you want, though, keep spamming those predictions by tweeting hashtag TSM win or hashtag CLG win to the @LOLesports Twitter account, and we will be updating that, I gotta say, probably a lot of times throughout the game, because there's gonna be a lot of fans on both sides trying to tweet those hashtags.
And I am excited. 4.10, we're about to start it. Team SoloMid and CLG, 2 teams that have a chance to push their own strategies, ones that don't always just want to adapt. So seeing new things, maybe they will stay for that dual lane bottom for the new Dragon Gold. If they swap that, then we can check out why they did it and what their cause was.
And I want to see how Doublelift approaches the new Tristana as well. Because early on laning against Illusion, you would think it's much weaker. Doublelift has even said in the past that he will never pick Tristana in a competitive game because her kit makes you miss CS.
Yeah, that's true.
Doublelift doesn't tell the truth all the time.
No,
because
he also hated Lucian.
Yeah, honestly. But this Tristana pick could very well work out for him in the late game and maybe even in the laning phase. There's a lot of early power on Trist that people don't respect.
And that's something you consider in lane as well, is when a Tristana can stay even farm, it's almost scarier. Because once she does hit late game, she will more than likely be stronger than you are with longer range. Out of the base, looks like we got consumables in mid. Bjergsen to stay safe. That's normal. Spell Thief on Aframu looking to make some cash monies. And Glebe with the Thresh going for the early Sightstone as Lemonwood now.
Yeah, and the Sweeper.
Yeah, sweet up.
Right off the bat by Glebe, which could give TSM a little bit of an early game edge. But this is the very standard opening. This is what pretty much everyone has been doing, especially in OGN over in Korea. They will place their wards here, but then still plan a late invade, and those vary greatly. We've even seen a little bit in North American LCS, 3 people invading, a top laner, AD carry, and support, while their jungler takes one of their own buffs. And the idea is that they start the game with 3 of the big buffs, because they'll invade the buff and push the enemy jungler off of it while their own jungler is taking like a blue buff, and then they'll collapse back down and finish it off. And then we don't know if we're going to be seeing lane swaps either. We did see both top laners take teleport, so no changes there, and it does mean lane swapping is more possible.
Yeah, Dyrus is still hanging out down here, so it looks like they may choose to do that themselves. Doublelift looks like he'll be staying. Ward top from Seraph, so he'll be safe for at least a minute. Not too shabby. Got Doran's shield to still Dyrus on the sword, but Doran's blade.
That's a little bit surprising, actually. The Doran's Blade changes for top laners means it basically, Doran's Blade used to give 5 life on hit for melee champions, and now it is a 3% lifesteal, which is early game about 2 health a hit for a Renekton, which is just far, far less. You'd normally think it's a sustain mechanism that you'd go with the Doran shield, but he's expecting to bully Seraph so hard that sustain won't be a problem, and he wants the damage and health from the Doran's Blade.
Well, that even pushes, you know, TSM's picks here to say we want to win early. The Renekton pick kind of pushes that anyways, but still 4.10 with the Dorans, even more We'll see how that fares out. We are going to get the standard lanes awesome between TSM and CLG, and we'll see if Dexter or Amazing can really make the first impact.
Yeah, classic League of Legends right here. The increased early game gold from the Dragon, I think, will have a pretty big impact on teams not going for the super early 2v0 lane swaps and instead give us more of this action. Now, the Tristana, because CLG got to the lane first, they have the lead for hitting level 2 first, so at least right at the start, unless a very timely hook landed from Glebe, W6D1 and Aframu have taken the early little bit of edge in this lane just because they have the wave in their favor.
Oh, double CS miss. Yep, the explosive shot will mess you up. See how he keeps it. He's 10-3 right now. Great bubbles trying to keep him off the turret. Double shot picking up those two, and Wild Turtle's doing his damnedest here to clean it up. Just outside of range will mean he's still in this one. Slow going for all the lanes as we would see in standards, and it has kind of tilted in TSM's favor on that Twitter vote. Hashtag TSM win, hashtag CLG win. Crowd is loving it. Getting the rivalry match to start off week 6. Dyrus right in the face of Saris as we would expect, and this is now going to draw a little bit of pressure from Dexter here. Hopefully the rest of the map can make something of it.
Yeah, it definitely seems like even though CLG will make some moves early if they come to them, they aren't the ones that need to make the moves. TSM is very much weaker if we get to the very late game of this one, just I think because of the Tristana. Kassadin balances that out a little bit, but just overall with the fact they have the Renekton versus Shyvana unbalances it.
Interesting trade, especially with sustain on one side, but you can see it's actually quite even. Glebe doesn't even have to throw out the shield, just waiting for a hook to land in that lane. It could get pretty scary. Bjergsen forced to farm under the turret, 25-22, so not too much of a gain from either player in the mid lane.
Yeah, we really see CLG successfully shoving in these lanes early on in the game, right? Link is pushing Bjergsen back. W6D1 and Afro have been pushing the bottom lane back, and surprisingly, Amazing is spending his gank on the top lane as soon as Seraph pushes out. But he's got a decent minion wave of defense. He missed the ward, which should actually mean Amazing can come in for a nice gank.
Seraph burnout just came back up. A nice slice and dice. They have the range. They kind of put Cocoon on the stun as well, but I think they're going to have it. They just close him in for first blood.
What an unfortunate moment there for Seraph. I can see what was going through his head that made him think that was safe. Basically, CLG's early game strategy was to shove in the mid and bottom lanes, and that normally makes you think there's going to be a gank. But Turtle!
Oh, that's the burn!
And it's going to hit!
Explosive shot will still do some good damage early game. They trade it back for 1-1.
Wow. So that was just them shoving in TSM for quite some time with the Tristana. And it's actually a misconception that Tristana is super weak early in the game. She's typically weak in the mid game, but she has extremely high damage numbers on her rocket jump and her explosive shot early.
Is it a bubble?
You can see they've already harassed Turtle down fairly low because it's a sustain lane versus a non-sustain lane. And then I believe they just get some decent damage on. Don't even land the bubble.
Wow,
but Doublelift puts enough damage onto Turtle that he just gets dropped down.
Whew. Wild Turtle, Valken into fights on Corki games. Doublelift, rocket jumping into the fight as well. Only really seeing that from scrims on him, but CLG's bottom lane, known to be one of the best in America right now, start things off early for themselves. Start to get Triss going.
That's just one of the big things about sustain. Even AD carries are able to sustain much less by themselves, that the sustain on a support becomes more valuable. It was just the poke pre-fight that allowed that all in to happen. And then the fact that Wild Turtle didn't dash back in time just meant the death of him.
That's big. Lucian getting taken out in the lane. Known to be the lane bully. Doublelift and Aframu going to work. Amazing. Starting to clear off the map now. They're trying to get a little more pressure, and he goes double pink clear for himself, picking up some extra cash money there. And Dyrus still going super damage early.
Yeah, he's rushing that team out on Renekton because he already has a big lead in that top lane. The ward control for TSM needs to help out that bottom lane right now because Amazing was able to take out those 2 early wards, makes it much more dangerous for Doublelift and Aframu to be up this far. And they will always be up this far just based on the explosive shot of Tristana if Doublelift wants to CS. So that vision control was actually incredibly important by Amazing.
It's a very active lane when Tristana is in it, and it's forced to be, like you were saying, good shots and harass. Glebe almost trading 2 for 1. Better. Doublelift gets away with more damage given.
Yeah, I mean, just the explosive shot alone is dealing 190 damage over 5 seconds by W6D1. He uses that directly after an auto attack well, and you can see why the harassment is so high right at the start of the game. Gets it again on Turtle, and there's no sustain. He doesn't even have a Vamp Scepter yet, so that's going to stick.
Trying to farm with Ardent Blaze and missing that one as well. You can see how far he's staying back. Catalyst on both in mid. So keep that nice and healthy, and nothing has even come to them.
A little interesting that Lynx actually started with that Catalyst.
Yeah.
Because even with the Athene's Unholy Grail nerfs reducing the magic resistance, it's still a very efficient item. But that will be another question, is how do mid laners end up either staying with Athene's or change up their item builds? And based on that Catalyst, it looks like Link is going to be going Rod of Ages on Orianna.
Definitely a late game, I'd say, Jab.
Looks like,
keeping with the Tristana, keeping with the mentality, and it's almost forcing themselves to go into the late game visually. 8 minutes into this one, amazing, and making his way back into the CLG jungle, just trying to harass and ward up. Dexter doing the same, so these guys mirroring each other, but you can see now movement from Link. See if they get something out of this. Very, very aggressive towards the bottom lane.
They have so many people down there. They just pinged out Dexter, so I mean, this is basically just farm denial right now, but Dexter gets hooked! Oh no!
Uh-oh, not able to follow up on that one. Doublelift is still there to give a bit of help. The minions almost getting some HP off of him, but it'll be all right. And now the movement towards mid can amazing make something happen, knowing that the jungler's bottom.
Yeah, blue buff being held by Bjergsen doesn't look like it's going to be a little bit of counter jungle movement. Yeah. A very close early game, honestly, with Doublelift and Afro winning the bottom lane, but Dyrus, honestly, just destroying Seraph early on because of that gank, already farming between
He's in his favorite spot.
Yeah, they're hoping actually to bait up Dexter right here. As you can see, there is ward control already in the jungle by Amazing, and he is kind of laying in wait, hoping that Vi comes up for the rescue.
You know exactly where the minion waves are in that top lane. Dyrus working it perfectly right now. 84 to 58, and a lot of times we saw Dexter helping Seraph. This game, Dexter's been all over the map, trying to kind of do for the bottom lane, and they said, we'll just get Afro Moon, Doublelift going.
He's level 6 now on Vi as well, which is typically when you get to see the big-time Vi ganks, and where he chooses to go with these ganks is important. Also, some very good ward spots by TSM. That one in particular being swept out prevented the gank on the mid lane, and that's why Bjergsen can get aggressive there.
Slow movements, both mids with the blue buff on. We may see a dragon coming up quite soon here. We still see Dyrus providing pressure in the top lane. It's really nothing Dexter can do about this. He's hovering around the map, going up for Dyrus. Is it going to be that much? It'll give Dragon down to Team SoloMid. So many decisions to make. It looks like Seraph's trying to do it on his own.
Good harass. That'll help him out a little bit. It's worth noting, too, just the history between these teams, actually. This is only the second time CLG has ever played TSM in the LCS while being ahead of them in the standings.
That's right.
TSM, all throughout Season 3, aside from one time they played in the summer of 2013, aside from that game, TSM has always been ahead of CLG in the standings. So it's almost like a mini changing in the guard here as far as power between TSM and CLG. Because for so long, TSM has just been the North American team. And everyone would always talk about CLG's potential. But maybe for the first time, CLG is getting away from that individual style play and playing better as a team. That's what we've been seeing from CLG throughout the spring split and definitely in the summer. And if they can continue to beat TSM or continue to stay ahead of them in the standings, it's just going to prove that.
It's been a different evolution for both teams and how things have been happening. Obviously, patches play a role in that. You see Bjergsen doing well coming in, and now the bottom lane here for Team SoloMid trying to do things against Doublelift and CLG. Slow rolling as they come into the lane here. I don't think they're going to be able to push too much more onto the turret. But as you were saying, these guys are still, after all those changes, fighting over top spots in the league. It's like a lot has changed, but not much has changed.
It's true. There's more people in the club now of top teams in North America, because we have to consider LMQ, Dignitas, and also Cloud9. Who could forget those guys? But they're all within a game of each other right now, so it is anybody's game. It's just this battle is always going to be classic.
You know, it's proof that once higher caliber and better teams join a league, everybody just starts to get better. We see some like Cloud9, Complexity beating teams like Cloud9, Dignitas as they just move on. It's pretty different in the topsy-turvy world of NALCS this summer.
Absolutely agree. Everyone's getting better. But this game here, the vision control around the Dragon, it's becoming that time of game. The next time a jungler lands a successful gank, or if one team can get complete vision control over the Dragon Pit, it will mean a pretty substantial objective jump. This game is within a couple hundred gold of everyone right now, and the Dragon actually needs to be a little bit initiated by TSM. They're the ones that have to pull the trigger on something. It's just really hard for them since their bottom lane, that includes Lucian, is losing to the Tristana lane.
Yeah.
That is really what's holding TSM back right now.
Definitely not something you would think to start off in this game, especially 109 to 100. Usually Tristana is either down 10 or 15 CS, but that's considered okay.
Doublelift used to say, if Tristana leaves the laning phase down only 30 CS, it's a win. So being up 10 CS is more than a win somehow.
It's a win in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Dexter finishing that Lizard as well, so that's going to be damage output if they do decide to go for the Dragon. Well, like you said, CLG feeling like they don't need to pressure that. The late game team, they're fine where they are right now. Wait, they got the wards to counteract if anything really goes down.
They're going to be finishing that turret shortly. That's why they're pinging down. Dexter's hoping that someone is there to defend it because they want to go for a big-time gank. But, yeah, Glebe, don't do it.
Too bad, so sad. A few more shots. Going to try to deny as much experience, but take it down. Easy on that one. Seraph still getting pushed in the top lane, and CLG is going to start positioning themselves here to clear out some wards. 3 sweepers, 1 ready on Afromu. They should have the vision they need for this.
Well, teleports up on the top laners as well, but the Dragon going down extremely fast, and TSM was not in position. They might want to steal. Can't even make it in range.
Dexter gets locked up. He gets doubly locked up, triply locked up, and he rides the wave down to the bottom of Davy Jones' locker. Afromu goes down as well, and TSM pulling something out on this one. 2 kills, but the Dragon going over CLG.
Risky, risky Dragon, one would say. If TSM could have moved a little bit faster, that could have been catastrophic for CLG, but based on typical Dragon gold, that is not that bad because it pretty much trades even. We can see the game is still about 300 gold different. It depends on what happens afterwards, because the fact that a kill went onto Wild Turtle, the gold is now much closer on the lane carries. Take another look at this. Dexter had no chance. Once the cocoon landed, he got bursted down, and then Afromu was trying to draw TSM away to make sure no one else died.
Effort.
And not good, all around. It means Wild Turtle is equal to Doublelift in gold right now, and the mid game of Lucian is stronger than the mid game of Tristana. So that little fight there actually kind of pulled TSM's bottom lane back into position.
Yeah, before we jumped into the replay, I was looking at the scoreboard, and I was going to say, even Stevens, except for top lane, look at this. Across the board, the CS is pretty much neck and neck, and with a few kills on the side of the AD carry, Wild Turtle, he's surely going to use that to start getting the team going. The assist onto Bjergsen, his Rod of Ages just finished, so that'll be charging up along with Lynx. Everybody's fight power and their prowess is starting to come to be. Seraph in the top lane, looks like he'll be able to keep safe. Help from Dexter, but I don't think they're actually going to try to make a play on this.
They might just try and shove down the turret a little bit. Or they're just trying to suck CLG's team up towards this point and diminish the map pressure elsewhere. Seraph getting a little low. If that cocoon landed, they were going to go in.
Link is here. It's going to be about 10 seconds on that shockwave, setting this one up. Seraph play the bait game. They don't really have eyes on Dexter just yet. They'll see him, though, as they walk towards the turret. Doesn't look like he's fully hiding himself. Lots of pings. Doublelift. He's very, I'd say, out of position, but he has the wards to be doing it right now.
He wants to be farming the time of game where you would typically see Doublelift just in a lane by himself, but he's trying to make an impact here with his Blade of the Ruin King. Big thing about Blade of the Ruin King on Tristana is it tries to supplant her mid-game weakness. She can use the base damages of her spells and the Blade of the Ruin King active to try and still burst people down. But as of now, it's going to be a while until he turns into that late-game carry. He's kind of a caster carry right now, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, CLG has been very strong in the laning phase, and they've seemed to pull it out in this one. The top side, obviously, in Dyrus' favor, but TSM's been getting better at their lanes overall. It was something that would totally be won by Odwin and Reginald in the mid lane. And Bjergsen kind of did that by himself, and now we're seeing that composition of amazing Bjergsen come together. Mid lane's getting pushed, though. TSM has to respond to this pressure. We see the Dyrus roam coming in. Seraph's still going to be in the top lane, so you can see CLG able to do this with just their 4 members. Try and hold TSM back.
Yeah, but without that turret going down, it just means Bjergsen's getting more and more farmed. He's going to try to be that answer for the Tristana late game, so the more he can farm, the better it is for TSM.
Well, Bjergsen kind of needs to be the all-star for the team. Always was. Like we said, when he came over, he kind of rode that wave. It wasn't even an ego. Everybody gave it to him, and he was on the top of the charts.
Yeah, I mean, we consider his numbers last split. He was top in the North American LCS in kills despite missing 6 games.
Absolutely.
And we look at him now, played in all the games, and coming into this week, he was 4th in kills of mid laners.
Yep.
So he has had a above-average season for a normal mid laner, but an incredibly below-average mid laner for Bjergsen, if that makes sense. CLG trying to push this down. Bjergsen wants to stop it.
Few hits there. Bjergsen goes in. Doublelift very far on the front line. Dexter's able to take the cocoon as the rocket jump keeps everybody safe. And the game is still just very, very even. Nobody can really break the ice here.
And even to get back to Bjergsen, I think a lot of that just has to do with the changes that TSM has underwent as an organization. No longer the safe fallback of a very supportive jungler and Odd One. At the start of the split, they had a more farm-focused jungler in Amazing, who was getting very heavily targeted in picks and bans. In recent weeks, they've been improving greatly. Amazing has become more of a supportive jungler. Glebe has gotten a lot better. Turtle's been performing, and it's allowing Bjergsen to kind of get back to his old self. But it definitely hasn't been the split of Bjergsen, that's for sure.
Right, and even for Amazing, when he was in Europe, he was a super playmaker. So to come to TSM and kind of have to change that play style and then revolve it once more with these patches, something that they're working with. A lot of teams have trouble adapting. We talked a little bit about double lifts here. We're trying the Tristana for CLG the first game. We'll see if it works for them. So far, he's doing pretty good. 20 CS up as he is just focusing on camps all around the map right now.
Yeah, again, the Trinity Force build for Dexter.
Yeah.
So very high damage Vi, trying to get picks throughout there. The BF stored by Doublelift means he's going Infinity Edge second, meaning his big power jump will be in a very long time once he's got about an Infinity Edge and a Zeal. So this would be TSM's time to try and make a play happen, but in order to do that, they need to get deeper ward control. Bjergsen has to get rid of CLG's pink wards and find catches in the jungle. There's a blue invade to start it, but there's a lot of opposition by CLG watching them.
Very close. Teleport coming in. Not seen by Dyrus, so it looks like he gets himself into the brush. Dyrus is on the long walk here. Looks like since they know CLG isn't getting too much just yet, he'll keep it safe. 12 seconds on Dragon.
Yeah, really interesting. CLG teleported down early to secure their blue buff and to get some vision control at the Dragon Pit. But Dyrus can just walk down, so now it will be some 5v5 posturing around the Dragon. With both mid lane turrets still being up as well, it's very easy if one team gets too close to Dragon that the other team just takes their mid turret. And there's a very high chance that a fight breaks out as they move between the two main objectives.
And Dyrus has actually gone straight Randuin's after that, not finishing the Tiamat, so their AoE fight ability is just getting better and better for these objectives.
Wow, very surprised he didn't go with the Sunfire Cape, especially considering the very large nerfs to Randuin's Omen.
Sunfire Cave indeed on that side of Seraph. Nothing really coming yet of this Dragon. Amazing.
Whoa.
On it by himself. You can see the vision right now. Nobody on TSM is really in the eyes of CLG. That was taken all by Amazing.
A really questionable strategic call there by CLG. I think they could have manipulated the mid turret for a Dragon trade, but they did a blue buff for a Dragon trade. Dexter went and stole the blue. It's slightly impactful on Bjergsen, and with the missed shockwave, this means TSM might just go in.
Trying to move the ball. Easy turret takedown for them right here. TSM knowing that they're grabbing the mid game, exactly what they wanted with their team's power.
Well, at least while this is happening, Doublelift is in his natural habitat, farming alone in a solo lane.
Just look off to your right.
201 CS, so they do get something back for that one, in a sense.
Nothing's free.
It looked a little sloppy with the missed shockwave.
It was pretty back and forth. I think the fact that they were just completely off of it, knowing that power, knowing they're the late game team, maybe they just knew it wouldn't be the decision. Another Dragon isn't going to be so bad.
I mean, the thing is, we're saying CLG is a better late game team, which for the most part they are. But it's not like they just automatically win if they're down 5,000 gold in late game. Gold is very much the most important thing at the end of the game, not just the champions you have. If CLG can keep it within 2,000 gold and make it to 40 minutes and then still play the team fights properly, yeah, they're going to win. But if they're playing and taking suboptimal trades and giving away objectives for blue buff control, yet that's still not slowing down Bjergsen's farming on Cassidy, who's still at 203, then they would lose that in the long run. They cannot take more suboptimal trades like that because the gold was pretty much even before that point. And now they're down 2,000.
So looking now, Wild Turtle's build, he does go for the Blade of the Ruined King into Ghost Blade. That's That's what we've kind of been seeing, but on the other side, we're going to see that into Infinity Edge. So
Reckless did that in his very first game on Lucian in the European LCS and went off. It's like 9-0-14 in that Fnatic game. It is so strong when he uses both of those actives, especially against Doublelift, who is in the process of that mid-game dip in power for Tristana. So if there could be a team fight, the AD carry battle would not even be close in power right now. TSM needs to force stuff.
Mid pressure, top pressure as well. This is going to be a double onto Seraph. Looking for the cocoon, making sure not to stack the crowd control, but they get the Dragon's Descent out. Not going to be too bad as they put pressure top lane. You can see CLG trying to rotate.
Amazing. There's a turret hitting you. There we go. But he's lost half his health. That's
a little painful.
Not the best, but there's still so much hesitation by CLG to get close to TSM because they know how weak comparatively Doublelift is.
You can see now CLG is trying to make moves. They're always in response. They're not really going to get much out of this other than minion hits on the turret. But they try to get a little bit back off of losing Seraph in the top lane. Using the turret, I should say.
Yeah.
And Seraph's ultimate.
This looks like old CLG a little bit, which is the CLG that they've been trying to go away from for a while because things didn't work out too well when they were just letting the other team dictate and trying to find farm when they could. CLG works much better when they are dictating, but right now they can't, or at least they don't think they can. I think if they caught the right catches with a good shockwave, they could make something happen, but they just do not have the confidence.
It also gets harder because Dexter just builds damage, and he's not getting that much tankier, so the initiations become that much harder. The cocoon just missing, also just missing on the death sentence, and the Ardent Blaze.
Woo.
Got a few more.
That was very close to disaster.
Yep.
I would have to say.
Twice.
CLG had a suspicion that someone was there, and it's good because TSM at 24 minutes right now has control of that Baron area, which is why they were baiting in that brush because CLG was thinking, holy crap, are they on Baron right now? And that's actually where TSM should have been. You could see with all the hesitation that was on CLG right there, they weren't close to checking the Baron pit. So that actually could have been a pretty quickly bursting down Baron. A little bit of a missed opportunity, but CLG gets out of it unscathed.
TSM definitely looking to break a habit. 0-4 against the teams that are above them, undefeated against the teams that are below them. And hopefully this can be kind of break that. Yeah.
Crazy stat for TSM. It's like they're the most consistent team in the LCS. Always taking care of business against the lower teams, but
consistently consistent. You see the Fnatic, their chart for being consistent.
1-1 every single
all the time. 2,000 gold lead here over to Team SoloMid, and anybody's game gold lead, if you ask me. 25 minutes on the clock, 3-1 and 4-2 in turrets. Good map control by TSM so far. They're definitely working the wards, and they just have a love for this Baron side right now. They know it could give them something that'll just give them the edge, even if they don't get Baron after the fight.
Well, the longer they wait, the lower their forcing potential becomes. Because when Doublelift gets his Infinity Edge, when Link gets his Death Cap, and when Dexter gets his Trinity Force, a lot of the power advantage TSM had will be lost. And that moment is happening very soon. It's just a matter of pretty much when CLG decides to go shopping.
Wow, yeah. Lots of gold in their pockets at TSM, too.
And Doublelift completed it. Dexter completed his Trinity Force, and Link is waiting on about 400 gold for his Death Cap completion.
This is going to be big. Doublelift is on 4 of Rapid Fire, so he's still trying to level that one up to equal the timing of his Infinity Edge that he just finished. Also, Zerk Greaves. It's going to be some pain, and he's not even going to be full range yet. We'll see if this composition CLG tried to put together, even with getting banned out in 3 supports, to try and shut down this Bjergsen Cassidy.
And this game is getting to a point where mistakes are no longer allowed and still being able to get victory because CLG just hit some very big item thresholds. And I think the advantage TSM had is mostly lost right here, which as you can see, as soon as CLG has those items, let's go to Dragon. Let's force a fight. And at this point, they're incredibly even. Whoever could get the right initiation might actually be the team that comes out on top in this fight.
CLG still trying to pull it out, making Dragon quite enticing here. Damage still being traded back. Dexter charging up the Vault Breaker. Not enough damage really going to come out of this. That fizzles out. A little bit of initiation. Not ready now for CLG. And Dragon is just waiting to be taken down.
CLG might just peel for a turret here. They are very experienced in doing this. They fight around Dragon a whole bunch. If TSM moves too far off, CLG just pressures that bottom turret. Even maybe if they just sent Doublelift down there, they could pull off something similar.
So much power
That magnetism of the dragon, though, is strong.
The Nami ultimate, Seraph going in with Dragon's Descent, Link's ultimate. TSM can be shut down in the blink of an eye, but if they can get over all of that, it's their deal. There's that one. Seraph going in with the Dragon's Descent. There comes Dexter, trying to get the shockwave in, not even throwing it down just yet. Link on the backside. There it is. He takes down Dyrus. They still keep going for the kills. The hook on the double lift. He goes right through the team and threads the needle. They follow up on the Afromu. What a play coming in from Glebe. And Bjergsen's going to follow up to push Link out.
With the Dragon Steal from Amazing, TSM is much farther ahead. Can he stop it?
Oh! Woo!
Seraph gets out after starting the fight and somehow not dying. All right, thinking about the way that fight worked, we said the teams were very close beforehand, but Seraph's initiation was a little bit ahead of the rest of the team. Watch when he goes in, how long it takes before the rest of the CLG follows up. Seraph's at 33% health before CLG can actually come in and help. If that was an initiation together with Dexter, CLG might actually win this fight. But because they're now on the way out, Seraph is no longer part of the fight, neither is Dyrus, it basically just turns into that even fight. And then that death sentence by Glebe swings it entirely. Double if not being able to backline is massive, and the Dragon Steal will increase the overall advantage for TSM.
Lots of wards going over the wall.
Whoa, man.
Whoa! Dexter gets hit up very hard, but he gets DQ over the wall. Keeps himself safe. TSM is not allowing them even in their own jungle now. A great fight coming in for TSM at Dragon.
Baron is the name of the game right now for TSM. They proved that they could kind of win that last team fight. They have vision control, and they know CLG will be a little bit hesitant. How quickly can they peel, and how well can CLG check? Seraph made a big risk to get that ward down, but it's incredibly important that they got it there.
A lot of these ults are back up. Do we have Afromu in range? Seraph again in the fight, taking damage before the team really gets it. Double lift hit up, and one after the other. The consecutive crowd control again. As Double tries to get himself in range, Seraph is going to find the same result. Link is going to be the next as the domino effect comes into play.
That was TSM pulling the trigger that they really needed to get. They were a little late on it, but boy did they pull it at a great moment. 2 clutch hooks by Glebe onto Double and then onto Afro.
Knowing you have a mid-game composition and acting on it is what TSM has just done. 9-2, 29 minutes into the game, an explosive amount of shock and awe from Dragon to Baron now. Within about the last 5 minutes, and they've taken a 5,000 gold lead. Baron's down, and TSM is up.
What an awesome set of death sentences by Glebe.
Yeah.
That's really what the name of this game has been. The fact that they already had a good start onto Seraph, but then amongst the chaos, he snipes another hook on a double lift, and then they're always doubling it with the cocoon.
Yeah.
The 2 newest members of TSM, Glebe and Amazing, have fantastic synergy this game, and it's allowing the Turtle and the Bjergsen to do great things. Cassian is just jumping on top of the CC targets, bursting them down, and Turtle is just extending his amazing run that he's had over the past 4 games.
You know, Jat, Wild Turtles, he's been getting some kills.
Yes.
Quite a few kills in his last games.
The craziest thing about Wild Turtle this split has been how bad he was in the first 8 games. We'll get to this after this blue buff, because TSM might catch another fight. Yeah, Turtle had 15 kills over the first 8 games. In his previous 4 games, he's had 30.
Yeah.
He's now at 45 kills. It's the slump that him and Glebe were in. They had no synergy. Glebe was playing terribly at the start. Wild Turtle was looking like he was dying out of position everywhere, and they turned it on. Glebe has been much more comfortable and confident, really since Loco Doko arrived.
Yeah.
You would have to say, because the team just has better strategic planning, and Turtle is the beneficiary of all of that.
And, you know, it was also a lot of shoes to fill for Glebe as he came in, because they said, you know what, you're going to have a voice right off the bat. So along with being a voice of the team, along with trying to coordinate with a new AD carry, took a little time to iron things out, but it seems like they have ironed it out nicely. Little starch added, no more needed. 9-2, 31.5 into this game.
Say that now after they have the Baron. Safe hashtaggers. Got to see that before it happens. Still, you can see it's heavily swinging in favor of TSM. They have a big lead here. And the overall gold lead, right? Even if Double Lift gets to that last Whisper, Tristan is still not going to be that strong. It's not like Lucian is a little baby late game. He's still really powerful with that completed Infinity Edge. So TSM's going to be looking to make some big-time moves with this Baron buff. They got 2 minutes of it left.
Oh, so many finished items. Core items hit, the Zanyas as well. We were just talking about the Infinity Edge. We'll see if the Mikhail's Crucible can save Doublelift, because right now he's going to be needing a Mercurial Scimitar if that's not enough. Very close to trying to get in. Dyrus is going to put pressure on the bottom side, and they're just trying to push in the windows on every side of the base right now. Right to the turret, no problem here. Not having the Sunfire cape, allowing him to stay under the turret and get a better push on.
Still double Randwins by TSM. Oh my!
Doublelift, so close. Oh, there's a bit of burn there.
That was without the Blade of the Ruin King or the Ghost Blade used by Wild Turtle. If he used one of those active items, he would have killed Doublelift. Got
a few more shots. The calling out. Gonna be some turret shots on the Dyrus. That time, he hit somebody with a call. His own cold meek, not calling. We're seeing the gold lead. This is all that TSM needed now to get themselves to the front of the base, but as long as they don't make too big of a mistake here, they should be all right. Baron's keeping them nice and regened up, and CLG is definitely on their heels as they try to defend here.
Yeah, killing Doublelift would have been an easy inhibitor for them. So even though it was a good play by Turtle to get him low, a misplay because he didn't use his active items to finish him off.
There's a little bit of siege there.
They might even try this 3-turret push. They have so much mobility on Bjergsen. It's very hard for CLG to run back and forth between these turret waves, but these turrets do regen a fair bit when you're not hitting them. So TSM will have to focus, and they do not have much of their Baron buff left. They're very much just swinging between all three of these base turrets of CLG.
Trying to stretch CLG thin. It's that few wrong clicks that are going to make the turret go down. CLG can't get there fast enough. TSM is really just causing chaos right now. No real risk in this either. Baron buff is just timing out. So compliments to CLG for holding it off, but how long can they do it?
You can see Link is keeping the Orianna ball on top of Doublelift, just in case. He needs to be able to keep that armor and MR on him so he doesn't get instantly blown up like he has the last few fights.
How much longer is it going to be? Still a little bit of time on Baron. Look over at TSM.
TSM wants this turret. It's a couple more hits. Next wave, or even this wave, they want to finish it off. It's just get it.
Throwing it down, only hits Glebe with that ultimate. Seraph, he's going to try to be in the front line for the team. Doublelift again on the backside, instantly gets shredded out to 10% HP. Wild Turtle comes up dominating. Another shot as he gets a double kill. Will there be a triple? They won't have the room to grab it, but everybody participated in those 2 kills.
Yet, with the last amount of pushing, after their Baron buff a bit down, they still have enough confidence to just fly in there and make some plays happen. They knew how much stronger they were than CLG, and they just brute forced that turret down in the end. CLG didn't have enough to fire back on because as soon as they get a little bit of damage onto Doublelift, he's done for. Bjergsen bursted him to half, so he had to pull back at the start of the fight. The shockwave did not hit a good chunk of TSM to stop this assault, and Turtle from the backline was flying all over the place with his Blade of the Ruin King speed and his Ghost Blade speed. There wasn't much CLG could do to run away.
And there's not much they can do to run away either. All those Randuins, such great builds coming out of Team SoloMid here. Dyrus in the top lane played it very strong. And the rest of the team figured Randuins would be the best as well. I guess it's just amazing, but he still goes for the Thorn Mail after that. Dexter coming into 4.10, still going for just his straight damage build. No change there. I don't know if that's obviously the thing that hurt them, but it's not working.
Damage Vi works well when you're ahead.
Right.
It does not work well against a Lucian with those items because he is just shredding through whatever little armor Dexter has just with his Ghost Blade and his bases. Like Dexter's sitting on 82 armor right now against a 4-item Lucian, and he just has no way of running away. That's a couple spells and a few autos, and Dexter is dead.
Yeah, very hard to get to that back line as well. Wild Turtle's positioning in this game, it's 7-1-3, so you can tell it has been very good. Like we said, also for Bjergsen, his last Kassadin game was 10-0-4. He's assist master this game at 0-0-9, but still, getting everything the team needs to keep it going.
303 CS is the powerful thing. Like, sure, he's not getting kills, but he's still an incredibly potent force on Kassadin.
Oh, yeah.
The start of these fights, he's taking either Doublelift or Link straight to half health. No magic resist items on anyone but Seraph or Aphromu because of the Mikhail's Crucible. So it's very easy for him to just go to a squishy target, chunk them down, and then if he gets turned on, activates that Zhonya's and lets the rest of the cavalry back him up.
Seeing what Doublelift is building other into his Phantom Dancer or Static Shiv himself. Not going for defense. He wants to match that power and still be the late game hyper carry that Tristana can be. See if TSM can again pull the trigger here, and they're trying to set it up. It looks like CLG will not bite, so TSM's going to go right for the Baron.
Yeah, this Baron should be going down very, very quickly. TSM is just biding their time. They've built up such a large advantage that this late game CLG composition, which as we mentioned, isn't much better in the late game than what TSM has, is extremely far behind because of the 14,000 gold deficit CLG faces.
TSM definitely didn't change too much other than the obviously AD carry builds and the way Dyrus kind of went about his.
Yep.
But they were definitely not worried about giving CLG those few dragons because they got the kills after. They were kind of setting everything up the way they needed it and have really carried the game beautifully here to 37 minutes. Definitely longer than their previous matchup. That was 28 minutes long.
Whoa. Doublelift already below half health. So next wave comes in. If Doublelift isn't back there at full health, it's going to be very hard to defend.
If you don't play a lot of Tristana, thinking your range is going to be out longer before 18 can put you in the wrong positioning. Doublelift kind of keeps walking up to the front to get a few shots on, but a crit can also change a fight in your favor from Trist. See if they can do it. A nice calling to the backside, and Doublelift just about eats all of it there with a bit more. It's going to be Seraph going in. 1, 2, 3, he's down. Bjergsen found Doublelift on the backside to start off this fight. It was so fast you almost didn't see it. It's going to be going down on the inhibitor. TSM now owns the base.
And they already have the exposed side, so they are going to end this game a crushing defeat for CLG. TSM looking good.
Very nice job as TSM takes down their first team that's above them in the standings, and they are able to tie up Counter Logic Gaming with this score now.
Oh no!
4, the inhibitor spawns.
Well,
MVP. All right.
And now they can finish.
They killed the MVP. The game is now about to be over. 38 minutes, 40 seconds into the game, Team SoloMid takes down Counter Logic Gaming. Wow.
That must feel good.
Yeah.
For TSM. Look at the smiles all around by the entire team. Wild Turtle 915, Bjergsen 1-0-12. Really, the fact that the overall score was 15-2 means that as soon as TSM got that slight edge, they just destroyed CLG.
Very good game coming in. Aframu bringing out the Nami. 3 supports banned out by Team SoloMid. They focused the lane also. Nami's still a good pick, but it didn't seem to give CLG everything they needed.
Quite honestly, early on in the laning phase, Turtle and Glebe looked rough. Dying straight up to level 4 to a Trist is normally not something you could recover from as a lane. But then Glebe landed death sentence after death sentence onto Doublelift. And there was nothing he could do on Trist.
Threading the needle with those hooks, one after the other. TSM didn't feel worried about banning out that many supports as well. And
For some reason.
They drove that team comp as they picked it.
Loco Doco making a big impact as coach.
Yeah.
You can see some stunned faces there. Dexter is definitely not happy about that one. Nobody on CLG should be.
Reggie as well. I wonder why Loco Doco's wearing a hat.
Yeah. Maybe something under there he's trying to